Tony Burke, welcome to Insiders.
G'day, Barry.
That sounds like a rather strange campaign pitch, that because I changed the Rudd government, you should vote for me.
Well, what Julia Gillard's doing now at the beginning of the campaign is making clear her directions for Australia. And there'll be various policy announcements during the course of the coming weeks that deal with all of that and that put the flesh on the bones of that. But right from the start, it is important to deal with the first principles of what your beliefs are, and Julia Gillard believes in a sustainable Australia. She believes in better health, better education, and she believes in a strong economy.
But there's quite a long list there, though, and it does imply that you're doing a lot wrong.
Well, certainly, right from the start, Julia made clear that she believed that the government had lost its way, needed to get back on track. There's been some major markers, in particular the mining tax, the change from big Australia to sustainable Australia, the issues that she's focused on from the start to make clear what direction she wants to take things in. I think that's appropriate for the Prime Minister.
What's so wrong with a big Australia? Why do we have to think so small?
I think part of when people started to consider this issue differently was when we recognised that some of our resources are finite. I think that happened during the drought, when water availability stopped only being an issue in the bush and started becoming an issue in the cities as well. And essentially, when you want a sustainable Australia, you want to make sure in the years to come issues like making sure that you do have a low pollution economy, making sure that there's urban planning and planning that allows there to be reasonable amounts of parkland, that you don't have hours of your day robbed through traffic jams. These are real issues. They're issues that the public's been talking about for years, and realistically it's taken a long time for either side of politics to catch up.
But what are you doing to calm down the population, to persuade them that they shouldn't operate on the basis that it's the uninvited boat people that swell the population?
Well, if you go to Julia Gillard's speech, where there's a whole lot of publicity of it from a couple of weeks ago, but in that speech she went to the very small proportion of the overall immigration intake that was represented by refugees and asylum seekers. I've repeatedly referred to the point that Lenore referred to earlier on the panel about the fact that when people arrive without a visa, it doesn't add to the overall immigration numbers. In terms of that part of the debate, I think the government has been really clear on calming that down, but that doesn't mean, and shouldn't be seen to mean, that people who are concerned about population issues are only thinking about that part of the migration program. They are thinking about sustainability. There are serious issues of congestion. There has been a practice for years in Australia that will just keep packing more and more people into the same handful of cities. And there's a reasonable question. Is that sustainable for the long term?
Yeah, sure, but just back on the boat people, are you prepared to say then that the numbers of the asylum seekers who arrive by boat are negligible compared with the overall immigration intake, and it's a nonsense to suggest that it has any impact on population?
Well, if you go to Julia's speech that I referred to a couple of weeks ago, she actually gave the percentage figure, which was tiny. That's been up front and there in the comments that Julia's made.
So now she'll be saying it's about a love of space, of freedom and opportunity. So overcrowding is now the issue.
Well, there's a series of issues in population. Let's not forget there are some parts of Australia that are desperately crying out for more people, and they have a real concern. There's areas around the Pilbara where currently so much of the workforce is flying in, flying out. They want to build a real community, a sustainable community. Now, Julia's given her direction as to sustainability being her focus. That is very different to the direction and the starting principles that Tony Abbott operates from.